Good evening, everybody. This is Beyond the Buzz, and we're live here on Facebook Live. I-95 Sports, as you see in the corner, on the top right-hand corner, as well as Zingo TV, and everywhere you can hear the sound of my voice. It's 9:01 p.m. for October 1st of 2020. Welcome into the show tonight. And, of course, I can't do it without my tag team partner, my pick-and-roll partner. Yes, the reason why we are the WWF and the WWE Tag Team Champions of the world, my main man for the three-point conversion, the student of the game, Mr. Kyle Nash. Good evening, sir.
Hey, it's always a pleasure for you to throw me the ball like you're Muhammad Abdul Rauf, and I'm Dikembe Mutombo putting away the first-seeded Sonics, baby. Woo!
Yes, exactly. The same way LeBron James and Anthony Davis took care of the Miami Heat last night as well, too.
You're not
also big shout.
I like it.
Yes, but also big shout out to our good friends at Valor, the top left-hand corner on my side at itsvalor.us. If you're looking for everything as far as marketing, music, and gifts, they take care of everything. You one-stop shop for everything. My man Jay Waddell and the entire crew over at Valor and Mentality Barbershop at 2611 Pine Hills Road in Orlando, Florida. If you're looking for a haircut to get so fresh and so clean, check out my main man Corey Lamar, Dio, and the entire team over at Mentality. Well, guess what? Oh yeah. Also, if you're watching the show on YouTube, Facebook, and anywhere else that you can watch the show tonight, by the way, like, share the show, and if you are wanting to comment on the show, we're not afraid to take comments. Trust me. I don't have my bulletproof vest on tonight, but I'm ready for my ammunition. Put your comments on the actual live feed. That way we can see it. Bobby Black Check up in New Jersey will post it on air, and trust me, I am all for Falcon jokes again tonight because guess what? It's Falcon jokes. Now,
I mean, listen, at the end of the day, so long as Rodney Richardson, our local neighborhood troll, has playmates to play with, it's a good night. Shouts to you, Rodney. We love you aboard, brother.
Of course. I mean, you always have to look out for a good friend Rodney over at Under Construction. Always check out the podcast on Sunday after Panther losses and Panther victories, which means mostly it's Panther losses. All right. So, Kyle, speaking of losses and disappointing fashions, listen, last night, the Miami Heat got off to a great start. 23-10 first quarter. Frank Vogel calls a timeout. And at that point, the game was over. The Los Angeles Lakers go on a three-point barrage in the first half, shooting 11 of 17 in the first half from the three-point line. The NBA's 12th best three-point shooting team in the playoffs inside the Orlando bubble went off like the Golden State Warriors in the early part of the 2010s. Final score 116-98 last night, game one. LeBron James and Anthony Davis combined for 59 points. I think like almost 25 some rebounds, and LeBron fell one assist short of a triple-double. Kyle, before I get into my thoughts, what were your thoughts in game one last night?
I mean, listen, when you bomb it that hard in the NBA, in an NBA game in this day and age, you're going to win the game. I mean, listen, I'm sure you'll speak a lot more to injury losses going into game two than I will here. But, of course, those are going to be factors moving forward. Another factor, too, listen, rumors of the end of Dwight Howard's career vastly exaggerated, too. He was able to make an impact. I haven't seen size matter this much in a game in the modern NBA era that I can remember. Just the way that AD and Dwight Howard together just basically dominated the middle, and there was little else that he could really do about it. And, of course, like you said, of course, the shooting is the most important aspect. They shot the ball well enough to where you would win a bunch of games, and the Heat just didn't quite have enough. But it's one game. I know everybody's declaring the Heat extinguished. I think the injuries have more to do than with last night's performance. But, hey, listen, these things happen, folks.
And really, when you look at game one last night, it was really one of those games where it's something that normally doesn't happen. The Lakers don't go out and hit 13 of their first 23 pointers. The Lakers aren't a three-point shooting team. In the first half, I think 7 different guys hit three-pointers in the first half. It just seemed like everything that the Lakers were shooting in the first half behind the three-point line was going in. You had LeBron James hitting step-back threes. We had a Danny Green and a Kentavious Caldwell-Pope sighting at the same time in the same game, something the Lakers normally don't get on a regular basis. The other part with the Lakers last night was you had multiple guys contributing. It wasn't 25 points from Kyle Kuzma, no. But you had, I think it was Danny Green had 13. KCP, I think he had 11. You had, I think, almost 9 points from Caruso. I think 8 points from Markieff Morris. Everybody was contributing last night. It wasn't just LeBron and AD. On Miami's side, yes, injuries were a part of this. But when Gordon Dragic went down at the end of the first part of the first half, Miami was already down 17 points anyway.
Right.
Okay. Miami was already down. Then Bam Adebayo gets hurt. Jimmy Butler hurt his ankle before halftime. Miami was already getting steamrolled at this point. Okay. Unlike what you see in the Eastern Conference, no offense to Boston, no offense to Milwaukee.
Toronto.
When you get down 16 points to LeBron James and Anthony Davis in a playoff game, yeah. This isn't the Clippers either. They put the foots on the necks. They were up 32 in the third quarter. Now we're going into game 2 on Friday night. And what we also have to realize is they're playing Wednesday, Friday, Sunday, again Tuesday. What does that all mean? With now Gordon Dragic's foot injury, which is the plantar tear. No, it's not fasciitis. That's the thing. It's the plantar tear. No, it's not the fasciitis. So that's a huge difference. If it's the fasciitis, he has no chance this guy plays.
Right.
If it's a torn plantar, I don't know if he plays tomorrow. I would say Sunday at the earliest, and it's going to be full of cortisone in his body. Okay, as long as they have the San Diego Chargers team doctors, he should be able to go on Sunday. Bam Adebayo's injury was not his shoulder, it was his neck. Bad news is both of them are doubtful for game 2. And if both of them are doubtful and don't play game 2, ooh, boy.
Yeah, I mean, who's going to even think to stop Anthony Davis at this point? I mean, what's left?
I mean, the one thing that the Lakers have, the Miami Heat have, that anybody else in the Western Conference does not have, is the Heat have a big man that can actually guard Anthony Davis and Bam Adebayo. Mm-hmm. He's athletic enough to be and mobile enough to guard not only Anthony Davis. You saw him in the first quarter guarding LeBron James at one point. Mm-hmm. So he can guard those guys. But if his neck shoulder situation is limiting the mobility he has, Anthony Davis will end up going to work on whatever person that's down there. It is what it is. We saw it last night. One thing we did see is that Anthony Davis started to use his size to his advantage. One thing AD that doesn't do, which is very surprising, Anthony Davis is about 7'6", 6'11", 6'10". Hell, he could be even 7 foot tall if you want to ask the right person. When he has a height advantage, he doesn't use it. He doesn't post up when guys are in the post. He wants to shoot over them. He started to get himself asserted inside the paint. And that's what, and if that is the case in nobody in my bio, I'm sorry, Jay Crowder, Andre Iguodala, Solomon Hill, Udonis Haslem. It doesn't matter who it is. If he's down there, he's going to get points.
Right.
The other part is Miami's going to have to start playing the perimeter. They're going to have. You can't let the Lakers have open threes. They're grown. They're NBA professionals. They're grown men. You can't leave them wide open. They're professionals for a reason. Just because they have to go down on a regular basis don't mean they can't hit wide open shots. It's so much easier, Kyle, because we can hit shots if we're wide open. If there's nobody out there guarding us, we knock those shots down, on a regular basis. So going into game 2, Kyle, what do you think Miami should do in game 2 if they do not have Gordon Dragic and Bam Adebayo?
That'll be a tough thing there too. Obviously, all I can tell you for a fact is that size is going to be even worse in a domination. Rodney makes a great point about the AD Finals MVP concept is a thing. I'm with you there. I feel like if that's the case, I would actually use AD less in the paint, and I would just feed Dwight Howard and then kick out for the open 3 if they come to double team. I would work that, get them collapsing, and then get the shooter's ball involved and see if you can't light that 3-pointer up once again. If I'm the Heat though, I'm trying to run this team. I'm trying to do things that can get, the break going and try to get them in transition, but I don't know that they have the personnel necessarily to do that.
And Kyle makes a great point, but one thing the Heat fans can say and look towards a little bit of a bright spot in this is Kendrick Nunn last night.
Yeah.
A guy who scored 16 points in his last 7 games scored 18 points last night. Nunn, who went into the bubble arguably as the second best rookie in the NBA, he caught COVID-19, struggled to get himself back, wasn't really his same self. He showed the spark that he had before the bubble had started. He started to look like himself again. Miami needs every bit of Arsenal, and they every bit.
Yeah.
It's Miles time. It's also peanut butter and jelly time too, but we're not going to get that either. All right. Exactly.
Hi, Precious. She's in there just in time for peanut butter jelly. That's awesome.
Yeah, she showed up peanut butter jelly time. What more can you say? All right, but what I'm saying is when you look at the way that Kendrick Nunn was shooting the basketball and being aggressive, that's what they need. They need that, especially if Goran Dragic won't be available. And to Mike Patton's point earlier, if Bam and Dragic are out, it's going to be ugly. It can be. The thing with the Lakers in transition is Kyle was saying that the Lakers should go with Dwight Howard in the post. Miami was killing them when Dwight Howard and Anthony Davis on the floor together. They played better when they went small. When they put Caruso in the game and basically kind of spread it out, Caruso and Rondo to go along with KCP and Danny Green hitting shots, LeBron, Kuzma, AD. It's a much easier game for the Miami. Damn it, Rodney. It's a much easier game for the Lakers when you're not playing Dwight Howard and Anthony Davis together. What was surprising me, and Kyle, this was kind of scary, as I was watching the game down the stretch, was the Lakers were up 32 points sometime in the third and fourth quarter. Throughout the fourth quarter, mostly up by 20. They were still playing LeBron James and Anthony Davis deep into the fourth quarter. I was wondering, I'm just glad nothing happened, that one of those two didn't get hurt. I understand that Miami got this lead down to 12, but Kyle, there's no reason why LeBron and AD are playing in a game with 15 points in the final 4 minutes. They're not the Atlanta Falcons here. They're not going to blow a lead here like this. I don't understand Frank Vogel's logic because there's been too many times in situations where a simple move can roll an ankle. Anthony Davis is not exactly the picture of health here.
Health. Yeah, no, I hear you. Here's what I would say to that, Chief. Frank Vogel is not Eric Spoelstra, okay? You try walking up to a guy who's arguably the best player on the planet, who people have called the GOAT. I don't think he's the GOAT. I think he's darn close, but that's just me. But you go to a guy as good as LeBron James in the NBA flipping finals and say, hey, listen, King, have a seat, man. You had a good one tonight. You tell him that and see what happens. Are you kidding me?
I'm up 20 points. I'm up 20 points in the fourth quarter. Yes, I'm sitting him at this point because I don't want LeBron getting a rolled ankle. I don't want, you never know. This is 2020. All right. Weirder things have happened.
You can try. That's what I'm saying.
Listen, at some point, to Mike's point, Frank saw blood. The thing is, though, the blood was already stricken. When Bam Adebayo and Goran Dragic didn't return, the blood was already there. The Lakers are up 30. Okay. You send statements. Listen, in game one, if you look at Jimmy Butler's face when the game was over, he was like, okay, they got round one. But round two on tomorrow night, I don't expect Tyler Hero to shoot as bad as he did in game one. I don't expect Jimmy Butler to play to be as ineffective as he was at times. He had 22, but it was an ineffective 22 points. I don't expect Duncan Robinson to miss almost every shot he took on the floor. I expect Kendrick Nunn to play. Kendrick Nunn does. I expect Adebayo to be nice and shoot it up full of something to get his body going. I think Miami will get it together. I don't think the Lakers will sweep them. I don't even know if it's going to be a gentleman's sweep. I think Miami will win tomorrow night, only because Jimmy Butler has too much pride to go down 0-2. If they go down 0-2, it's almost certain that the series is over.
I can see that. I don't know that I'll sign off that 0-2 is necessarily a done deal.
0-2 in injuries. 0-2 in injuries to Adebayo and Dragic at this point. It could be curtains at that point.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. If it's 0-2, if it's 0-2 and they don't have either Bam or Dragic back to full health, I see where you're going. And I follow that. And a very important thing I think is worth mentioning, you mentioned all the stuff you expect to have happen. Something I don't expect to have happen is the Lakers shooting that good a second consecutive postseason game. Listen, we've seen it a lot where LeBron James in any jersey in the finals either whoops someone or gets whooped, and then vice versa happens the next game. That has happened a lot of times just in general. So, and listen, I hope he puts some hair grease on the table too there, Rodney. You're on to something. Pat Riley, Eric Spoelstra, they're going to get these guys into a frenzy where they don't just roll over. I expect it to be closer than it was in game one, possibly because the Lakers aren't shooting as well. I said it again.
Once again, to Rodney's point, he's talking about onion rings and Coke Zero. That's all I'm saying. When he says rings and Coke, it was onion rings and Coke Zero.
Of course.
Yeah.
I thought you meant like, jewelry rings and like, Yeah, Coke Zero is actually what I prefer. That's not what I'm drinking, but
yes. Well, good news in Philadelphia is that Sixers fans don't have to drink any longer. They finally have a head coach now. Doc Rivers. Doc Rivers ends the misery of Sixers fans by now becoming the next head coach of the Philadelphia 76ers. He signed a 5-year deal today. Now the real question is, who is the real Doc in Philadelphia? Is it Doc Rivers or Dr. J still going to keep the name Doc when it comes to the city of Philadelphia?
Hey, listen, there's doctors that practice together in the same building.
Yeah, but
it'll just be the Sixers practice, and they have more than one doctor. It is what it is, man. It's all right.
Listen, the one good thing about the Sixers and the whole Doc Rivers has no friends. Listen, you know what? This is actually the best job that the best coaching option the Sixers had. I wrote about it on SI.com last night, and it was posted this morning. That here's the thing: Doc Rivers taking over this job in Philadelphia is real simple. It allows Elton Brand not to have to dismantle his entire roster. Elton Brand had already said during the offseason had started that, hey, listen, I'm not trying to trade Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons. I want a coach to get those two guys to work together to get us a championship. They're your two guys. Okay, it's very hard in the NBA to draft not one but two legitimate all-star top 20 players on the same team. It's not something that happens. Golden State drafted Steph Curry and Klay Thompson, but how many other teams have two homegrown top 20 players in the league? With Washington, but John Wall's injured. Two top 10 players, 20 players right now, drafted samely homegrown wise. Okay, Doc Rivers needs two things in Philadelphia. He needs two things in order to be successful. All right. Number one, the Sixers need to go get a veteran leader. A veteran leader. I don't know if it's going to be Chris Paul, if they trade for him. I don't know. You need somebody in the locker room. Hey, listen,
sir, I will mess you up in the post. You better back off, and I'll beat you in that foot race. Don't come after me in the post, son.
Listen. Al Horford's got Al's got some skills. I mean, Kyle, he's giving you credit. I mean, he's giving you Al Horford. It's different if he calls you Miles.
Okay, I thought he was talking trash. I'm like, what you coming at me for? My bad.
Well, Mike, to your point, the process is taking a very long time. The process ended with Sam Hinkie was walking around the door. What we have now is now the situation. The situation is they better win a championship right now. Okay, Doc Rivers has won. He's won a championship in the Eastern Conference with the Boston Celtics. Some of the similarities are the same between Boston and Philadelphia. Why? You have a big guy that's a defensive presence that blocks shots and is very intimidating when he's actually engaged. That's Joel Embiid. Kevin Garnett was that guy. He also coached a point guard that doesn't like to shoot anyway and can't shoot in Rajon Rondo. Guess what? You got Ben Simmons. Cha-ching. You have good players that can shoot the basketball, guys like Tobias Harris and Al Horford. Josh Richardson plays defense. The real question is you got to get some more depth. And at the same time, I'll be honest with you, if Philadelphia can trade for Buddy Hield, it will change everything in the Eastern Conference. Otherwise, do we really want to see the Sixers trying to run up and down Mike D'Antoni and Ben Simmons shooting three-pointers?
Hey, listen, by the way, can we quickly acknowledge that on our previous episode Monday, we acknowledged the firing of Doc Rivers, and then on our Thursday edition the same week, dude already got a damn job. Can we talk about that?
Listen, he wasn't fired. They mutually parted ways.
Yeah,
all right, nobody was fired. Nobody was fired. He's had 2 years and $20 million he's about to receive from Steve Ballmer on top of his new deal in Philadelphia.
Hey, man, listen.
There's enough Wawa subs for everybody in Philadelphia right now.
Woo!
Speaking of enough for everybody, guess what? College football's back. Yay! Well, Kyle, before we get into college football, let's talk UCF football. UCF has a huge game this week against Tulsa.
Yes.
You wrote about it in the 3-point conversion this week, but give us the student of the game 90-second edition of what to expect between UCF and Tulsa before we kick into college football here.
Hey, man, listen, let me put it to you this way. For those of you who are snobs and haters and, don't actually watch film to college football games, it's very simple.
Clemson fans. I'm sorry.
I'll put it this way. I'm man, you threw me off with that. I wasn't ready.
I pulled Donald Trump. I wouldn't let you talk. I'm sorry. Continue.
Woo! Now I'm going to look into the camera. Listen, America, you want to watch this game. Seriously, though, you want to watch this game if you like black and blue bruising football. This group, this Tulsa Golden Hurricane team is, well, according to both head coach Josh Heupel and defensive line coach Shane Burnham, the toughest group they're looking to face so far of the three they have, and possibly on the entire schedule, except perhaps maybe like a Cincinnati even. Listen, guys, if you like black and blue football, tune into this football game. And by the way, not for nothing, receiver Marlin Williams is number 4 in yards in the nation right now, with their top receiver, Trey Nixon, out after the first game in injury. And listen, for what it's worth, you got all 3 running backs healthy again. Otis Anderson did leave the East Carolina game early last week. He's back on the field. Greg McCray is back in action. Bentavious Thompson. I always have to pause because his name is so long. Bentavious Thompson. It's easy for me to remember the Thompson part, right, Dave? But they have such a balanced group on offense. It's going to come down to UCF's ability to protect this Tulsa group. Although week 2 was suspended due to COVID with Arkansas State, this group held Oklahoma State, a Big 12 team that can only score and can't stop anyone from doing it because they're in the Big 12, to 3 points in the first 3 quarters until they got hot and scored their only touchdown and 2 field goals in the third quarter for a 13-point quarter to get the 16-7 win over Tulsa. Tulsa, just like last year, is deceptively good, and UCF needs to take them seriously, or they could find themselves in a free fall out of the national conversation once again.
Kyle, what do you expect to happen on Saturday?
You know, I have a situation where it's going to be a lower scoring game for UCF. I only see them hitting about 30 points or so versus 40 or 50, but I don't think Tulsa's offense is quite enough. However, don't be surprised if they keep it in single digits. And the irony is Oklahoma State was ranked 11th when Tulsa put a scare on them in week 1. Now UCF is ranked 11th, and Tulsa's looking to do the same thing again. I think they certainly cover the spread, which is ridiculously high. It's like 20-something points. That's way too much. But I do think they keep it within 2 scores in single digits. I got about, call it 9 points, I guess, then. So which would be, technically speaking, I'm saying 30-21 UCF.
Well, real quickly on my end, I think UCF does cover the spread. Unlike Oklahoma State, who got hurt in week 1, quarterback goes down, and Tyrod Wallace, quarterback and receiver go down in week 1. UCF has everybody healthy. Like you said, all 3 running backs, not 1, not 2, but 3. They have 3 running backs that can start for most programs in the country, and they're all healthy. You remember, when you have a healthy running game, Dylan Gabriel in the offense is going to make things so much easier, even with Trey Nixon not being on the field. I think UCF will run. They're at home. It's their first quote-unquote national TV game at home. They played at ECU last weekend. I think UCF will get on the board early. They'll get on the board often. I think they hit 50 on Saturday. I don't think this will be as close as you think it's going to be. I have UCF by at least 4 touchdowns on Saturday. It's going to be ugly. It's going to be ugly because guess what? The college football schedule, still ugly anyway because half college football is not playing. But if this is a normal weekend, there's 2 marquee matchups in the SEC, otherwise known as the best division in the division and conference that's better than the NFC East in the NFL.
He ain't lying.
Listen, you have 2 marquee matchups on Saturday's tip. First game, 3:30 in the afternoon, something that we've all recognized. CBS will have Texas A&M taking on Alabama. This game is always entertaining every year. No matter the court, you go back to the Johnny Manziel days. You go back to the last couple of years of Jalen Hurts and Tua Tagovailoa. A&M plays their best football against Alabama for some inordained reason. I guess because it's Alabama. Alabama wasn't exactly too impressive in their week 1 game, but the number 2 team in the country is at home. I think there are going to be fans there because I keep losing track who has fans and who doesn't. All I know is Alabama is going to put points on the board. The question is, Kyle, do you think A&M's defense can stop them enough to let their high-powered offense get on the field enough to score enough points against Alabama's NFL-style defense?
No, I don't. And listen, I know that everybody out there out there at the Texas A&M program is talking about how it's Jimbo Fisher's time to finally prove himself and do what he did at FSU once upon a time. But at the end of the day, man, I think Alabama is just going to be a bit too much. I don't think the offense has quite enough. I mean, that's not an insult by any stretch of the imagination. But, I mean, listen, Alabama is what it is for a reason. I'm really looking forward to the other matchup that I think you're just about to talk about.
Yes, the matchup between Georgia and Auburn, between the hedges down in Athens. Listen, now Georgia looked impressive week one behind Stevenson Bennett at quarterback, and then guess what? DeJuan Mathis started the game. Stephen Bennett came in the game, played well, and now guess what? We have a third quarterback in the mix because USC transfer JT Daniels is now medically cleared to play on Saturday. You're talking about 3 running backs. Georgia has 3 quarterbacks. It's good to have 3 quarterbacks, but you're trying to run them against the Auburn defense that's coming after you. It's going to be fun to watch. Kyle, what are you looking for in this game on Saturday?
Hey, listen, what I'm looking for is a quarterback that might actually be a standout in that situation. Listen, if you have 3 quarterbacks, you don't have one. That's how the saying goes. And Georgia was struggling when they had Jake Fromm and a solidified starter. Say what you will about Auburn. Their biggest problem is they're stuck in a conference and a division, if I remember correctly, that LSU is in as well as Alabama. Oh, God. So that's really their biggest problem year in and year out. This is a great test for Georgia to see if they could be taken seriously. I think we will come to find out they can't be. But even if they lose to Auburn, I will still take them way more serious than I take Texas at number 9 in the polls. You aren't fooling me, Big 12. I know you're just a bunch of fakes. Granted, you're not the ACC fake, but you're fake. Danny?
We're not doing this tonight, sir. Speaking of the ACC, number 1 Clemson takes on UVA. And listen, this is the only time we'll talk about Clemson the entire night. This is a rematch of the ACC championship game last year, which Clemson destroyed UVA in the ACC championship game in Charlotte. I don't think there'll be nothing different here. Clemson's at home. Trevor Lawrence is at home. And as long as Trevor Lawrence is on the field, guess what? Clemson's going to win. It's going to be pretty bad. Other games going on Saturday, because the only time we'll talk about Clemson. North Carolina takes on BC.
Woot.
Listen, the Tar Heels are 12th, and they'll be in the top 10 this week because they're going to win. They're going to jump ahead. They'll get the top 10. I think they'll beat BC on Saturday. Other games going on in college football on Saturday. You got Florida, fresh off a humongous offensive performance by Kyle Trask last week. They take on South Carolina.
I know that might be boring to you, but that's a big deal inside the conference. And listen, if the weakest part of your schedule is South Carolina, you got a pretty tough schedule overall, man.
Listen,
Hey, you want to know what that's for, Bobby? That's Bobby playing against USF and acting like we're supposed to care about the fact they boat raced them. They actually just laid off about 20% of their staff, athletic staff. So yeah, woot.
Yeah, but I was saying the yawning because guess what? South Carolina's not going to punch him a fight. Go eat. I'm hoping he's.
He doesn't mean Philly. He doesn't mean Philly.
He better be. Mike better be filled up because he means those other Eagles. I'm going to hit him with the stopping button. Big shout out to 3-point conversion, by the way. Other games on Saturday after schedule: Missouri and Tennessee. Yawn. Speaking of USC, take on Cincinnati. Yawn. Memphis and SMU.
Well, hey, listen, they're coming off of playing. They're coming off of playing a game that they shouldn't have played so well in, according to the experts. Right? It'll be interesting to see how seriously they take that game against Memphis and what happens.
Tennessee is at home in a home opener. You're correct, Mike. Tennessee against Missouri. Here's the thing: Tennessee is ranked.
For now,
it's just as big as the fact of there are no bowl restrictions for bowl games this year. Pretty much anybody can play the bowl game. All right, so back to other things going on in college football that we have not discussed because Tennessee being ranked is not one of them. Oklahoma State takes on Kansas. Listen, not only is this game be interesting to me, Oklahoma State should beat the doors off Kansas because Kansas got blown out by Coastal Carolina.
But didn't Kansas beat Oklahoma?
No, Kansas.
Kansas State. I'm thinking of. Excuse me.
Yeah, not the Jayhawks. This ain't basketball. All right. Oklahoma and Iowa State play each other. Both teams should be 2-0 because they shouldn't have lost games this season. But guess what? They're both 1-1. Lose out of the Big 12 championship race.
Facts.
Arkansas and Mississippi State. I think Arkansas's defense is still allowing points from last week. Mississippi State should roll over them easy. LSU takes on Vanderbilt. If Vanderbilt wins this game, they might be calling for Coach Ed's job down the value if they lose at Vanderbilt in this game.
Can we talk about the worst possible damn time to have that game if you're Vanderbilt? How pissed are the Tigers going to be going into Saturday?
They're not going to be that cat that Lions suit that Bobby just posted. There's going to be some angry Tigers. All right. College football's over and done with. All right, so we got that out the way. Speaking of things that are angry, baseball fans should be angry right now because guess what? No one's talking about baseball. So you know what? We're going to dip into baseball. All right, we'll give baseball a little bit of time. For those keeping score at home, baseball's playoffs are still going on. The Yankees won, eliminated the Indians. Indians somehow had a power outage. The best pitching staff in baseball got lit up by the best offense in baseball. Unlike basketball and football, defense doesn't always win championships in baseball. Offense wins games, okay? Especially when the Yankees bat.
Hey, Bobby, do you have a graphic of Homer Simpson? Because I think it would be appropriate to apply a Homer to your reaction. Shall we move on, Danny?
I mean,
I have nothing to do with that.
I'm sure you did. Neither did the Minnesota Twins offense. That also forgot that. I guess Target didn't pay their bill because there was no offense going on in Minnesota as they were eliminated from the playoffs, and I think they lost to the Houston Astros. Okay, now the Oakland A's, they have one job and one job only if they get out of this playoff series. All they have to do is eliminate, because they won today over the Chicago White Sox 6-4. Please eliminate Houston Astros. That's all you have to do.
And here comes the Houston Astros adopting the mantle as Patriots of the MLB.
Oh no, they're way worse than the Patriots. They make the Patriots seem like the Americans team. All right, people hate the Astros. Okay, if Jose Altuve and Carlos Correa and those guys make the World Series, it will. You talk about being booed. They're going to be booed in the state of Texas by everybody inside the stadium. All right, Dodgers have a chance to make up themselves by closing out the Milwaukee Brewers tonight. Because if not, I don't want to hear nothing about Clayton Kershaw ever again in the playoffs. Oh, I forgot. We never hear it because they lose anyway. All right. Cubs and Marlins are postponed today due to rain, and the Braves make the second round of the playoffs. The good news is the Braves made the second round of the playoffs, and they had more fans outside the stadium than they normally do inside the stadium when COVID has not gone on. Big shout out to the Braves, by the way. And the San Diego Padres down 4-2 in the 6th inning to the St. Louis Cardinals. All right, we talked enough baseball because knowing baseball never lasts this long anyway. All right, hockey's over. The WNBA Finals will start tomorrow night. Please tune in, 7 p.m. It's a good lead into the NBA Finals. Game 1, the two best teams in the WNBA, Seattle and Las Vegas, will tip off at 7 p.m. right before Game 1 of the NBA Finals. The two best players in the league, Asia Wilson and Breanna Stewart, will go at it. It's the best versus the best. Like I said, and one thing about the WNBA, Kyle, viewership is up almost 70% over last season.
You love to hear that. You love to hear that.
Exactly. And guess what? The ladies had no issues with COVID throughout the bubble. Because we have another sport that has issues with the bubble, with issues with COVID-19, and that's the NFL. Well, it only took 3 weeks before we had something go wrong in the NFL. COVID gets back in the game here, ladies and gentlemen. 4 players. The Braves are worth talking about Atlanta.
I mean, it's not like you're talking about the Thrashers in the NHL anytime soon, Chief.
They're the Edmonton Oilers. What more can I say? They're the Winnipeg Jets. What more do you want me to say? Good old Winnipeg. Gotta love Winnipeg. All right. So the NFL, COVID. You gotta get we keep our prayers out to the players who and the organization members of the Tennessee Titans who got COVID. Now the list is up to 5 players and 6 people in the front office, including one member of the coaching staff that has caught COVID, but has now postponed the Tennessee Titans Pittsburgh Steelers game. And now here becomes the $64 question. No, he's talking about the Tennessee Volunteers, ladies and gentlemen. All right, now when it comes to the situation with this. The real question is the testing with the Minnesota Vikings that could determine everything that goes on with the NFL right now. Why? The NFL has a contingency plan in place because the Steelers and the Titans will move their game to week 8 and then replace the byes in week 7 if they can get, as long as the Minnesota Vikings have no COVID testing issues. Now, there have been no positive COVID tests in the first couple of days with the Vikings. The question has always become is normally that people start finding signs of COVID 3 to 4 days after being exposed to somebody with COVID. Mm-hmm. As long as this game is played on Sunday with the Minnesota Vikings, and we'll get to we're going on the preview in a minute, as long as the Vikings game is complete with no COVID issues, the NFL won't have a catastrophe on their hands. They got a pretty good backup plan. If the Vikings game does somehow get postponed, the floodgates will open at this point because scheduling will be a problem going forward. There's only so many ways you can try to readjust the schedule in the NFL with bye weeks and everything else in between, trying to get teams to move. It's going to be a fool if the Vikings somehow have to reschedule this game on Sunday. We want to get best wishes, get all those players and the staff members, the Titans back healthy because, as human beings, you want them to be healthy. As football fans, we want to have football happen. We don't want to have a situation where not only that one team is down, that it can possibly start a train reaction across the entire league. So, Kyle, speaking of chain reactions in the entire league, let's talk about the National Football League. And as you see at the bottom, the Yankees and Devil Rays will crash on the ALCS. Who cares? All right. Go Tampa. It is what it is. All right. Let's talk about the NFL now. Kyle, well, week 3 is in the books, and week 4 has proven that 2020 is 2020. Why? And of all games, the New York Jets and the Denver Broncos are playing live on NFL Network. If you actually care about this game, Joe Flacco has made an appearance for the New York Jets in this game. Sam Darnold was left going back into the locker room, and Joe Flacco is in the game for the New York Jets. Why is that special? Because 12 months ago, he was part of the Denver Broncos. Bobby, what's going on, my friend?
Darnold is back playing.
That didn't take long.
Well, guess what? 2020 is not 2020 any longer. Yes. Joe Flacco's back to where he's supposed to be, back on the bench. All right. All right, Kyle, let's talk NFL and what's going on this weekend in the NFL. All right, normally we'll talk about the game of the week, or should we go with the over teams? But you know what? Let's have a little bit of fun here, Kyle. As you look at the NFL matchups this week, Kyle, what is the game that is on your radar as the game that you're looking forward to most this weekend?
Well, I'll put it this way. The games I'm looking at the most closely, just in general, that I'm tracking is basically whoever the Patriots are playing against. But let me tell you why I put it that way. I know you're looking for a matchup that's really good and all this other stuff. But slowly what I think has happened with the Patriots, and I really kind of caught wind of it when they played Seattle a while back. But what we're slowly looking at, and listen, I had them making the playoffs but not winning the division. I still feel that way about them, let's be clear. And there was some stupid rumor out there that I didn't buy, and obviously it's been found to be defunct, that Julio Jones is going to go to New England. That wasn't going to happen. No one.
Okay. You know what? I'm going to address that rumor right now.
Okay, if you want, go ahead.
Okay, let me go ahead and do this because here's the thing. There's kind of a protocol when it comes to internet rumors. The same way you do with the NBA during the trading deadline, same with Major League Baseball, any other sport that has a trading deadline, or when it comes to news and rumors. Okay, just think about this for a second. DeAndre Hopkins was traded for a running back, spare parts, and big league shoe. Okay. The Patriots just traded Atlanta second-round pick for Mohamed Sanu last year. Do you really think that the Patriots would trade do you think the Falcons would give up Julio Jones for 2 second-round picks when they gave up Sanu for 1 second-rounder last year? Let's be serious here, all right?
Timing is an issue as well, though, here. I mean, not for nothing there, Danny, but Julio Jones is an all-time caliber talent. He's probably the guy on that roster who's the best chance of being a first-ballot Hall of Famer. But in light of the fact they are where they are this season and they're getting the success they are, I could see them pulling the trigger on a trade more like that than they would in the offseason. Listen, timing is everything sometimes in the art of the deal. I'm not saying it's going to happen. Let's not be stupid, Danny. All I'm trying to tell you is that's a factor. But go ahead.
The Falcons will have Bill O'Brien in their front office. That's the other part. All right. The Falcon rumor was not happening. But Kyle, back to your regular schedule game preview of why the Patriots are interesting. Continue.
The Patriots are interesting because they did something that I never saw applied to Russell Wilson before, and that is control the clock and keep Rusty off the field. And they were literally one play away from beating Russell Carrington Wilson, and the Seattle Seahawks. Now they're playing the Chiefs. Danny Thompson, if there's a team that is capable of holding the ball and keeping it out of Mr. Mahomes' hands, it would be the New England Patriots, and still remain potent in doing so. By the way, not to mention, this is a team that has actually lost to the Patriots before in postseason. Granted, it was due to the fact that Dee Ford lined up off sides, but I digress on that too. What I'm trying to say is this. I think this game, Andy Reid's hoping this is the only time he plays the Patriots. Because of this game, Bill Belichick is going to have something in the playoffs ready for them if they play them again. So between being able to keep Patrick Mahomes off the field and it being kind of a scouting mission for Bill Belichick, I'm really looking forward to seeing what that game holds this week.
What we saw last week we'll start with this game as a weekly preview. What we saw last week, the New England Patriots, is something I mentioned before. If Sony Michel runs the football, makes things easier on Cam Newton. Newton had to throw the ball as much. Newton can just be effective by making the short passes. Now in a week where, like I said, the Ravens are coming off a short week. They just played Monday night against Baltimore. Baltimore's not exactly the easiest team to play against. Even though they made it look easy, Baltimore's a very physical team. Coming off a short week, the Patriots have time to figure this out. Remember, you can't game plan for the Patriots like you used to because Tom Brady's not back there. Your whole entire game plan on how to stop the Patriots on offense is a little bit different now. You have a mobile quarterback who's not just a mobile quarterback. He's a big mobile quarterback.
Correct.
And he's healthy. He's healthy. He's bigger than the majority of linebackers on the entire team, and maybe even bigger than some of the defensive linemen. What I'm saying is this is a different type of a pair. It's not easy to prepare for a guy like Cam Newton. What other quarterback can you compare him to around the league? Ben Roethlisberger doesn't move like that anymore.
And Kyler Murray is not that big.
Deshaun Watson doesn't move like Cam Newton. He's not as big as Cam Newton either. So we look at what Kansas City's played. Lamar Jackson, that's not Cam Newton. Nope. Lamar Jackson is much more of a streamlined quarterback that has legs. Cam Newton is a fullback that has legs and that can actually throw the ball. It's a difference. Difference between wide receiver and a fullback.
Think if Marcus Allen could throw. I'm just saying.
I mean, think of Bo Jackson can throw. It's just really it's a bigger body that you got to deal with. And Cam Newton can also dish out punishment as much as he can take it. As we've seen the Patriots get in that formation and they call hike and they get the ball to Cam Newton and let him use his instincts. It's touchdowns sometimes. Like the end of the Seahawks game is something else.
Hey, that's the only time I've seen it truly fail is on that play, and it just happened to be the most important play of that damn game.
Now, the other part is the Patriots, with Stefan Gilmore and company, haven't faced speed like this either. This isn't some regular. This isn't regular speed. This is 4x100 Olympic speed. Okay, Tyreek Hill, Sammy Watkins, Hardeman, they all have speed everywhere. And then guess what? When they're not using speed down the field, Travis Kelce is just doing everything else you need him to. Clyde Evans-Helaire is still a weapon. They're still figuring out how to use. It's a shiny toy. It's a shiny toy. It's like getting that remote control car for Christmas. The first couple of days, you just figure out how to use it. Might not try to hit the wall. You're trying to yes. And Andy Reid is playing with his new toy, playing with Helaire to figure out how to use him.
You mentioned Stefan Gilmore too, really quick. In the past 3 weeks, here are some of his stats: 3 defensive pass interference penalties called against him, and a burn for a touchdown pass over him as well. Now, granted, the touchdown pass was by Russell Carrington-Wilson, so I do cut him slack on that. But he's averaging a defensive pass interference call per week.
The other part is if you look at the receivers he's gone against,
listen. He's not wrong. It could go horribly wrong. I'm just saying the Patriots are uniquely built to where they'll keep Mahomes off the field.
And the other part is now if Kansas City gets the ability to get Stefan Gilmore one-on-one with Tyreek Hill, I wouldn't be surprised if Patrick Mahomes will throw the ball down the field. And speaking of throwing the ball down the field, that touchdown pass he had before halftime where he threw off his back foot, that laser he threw to hit Hardeman in the mid-stride, off balance was just phenomenal.
It should be immortalized in a painting. And I'll say this. I'll put it this way, Danny Thompson. Maybe this is predictable. I don't know. I don't know that I put Stefan Gilmore on Tyreek Hill a single time. I let the zone take care of him. I might actually have him focused more on Travis Kelce throughout the day.
It's not a bad idea to actually consider that. Because listen, Travis Kelce is just as important as the rest of the receivers are. Correct. He's the best. He has the best hands of the entire team. Okay, so he's the guy that he's the one that does all of the dirty work for them. And like I said, he's also still a threat in the passing game as well too. Speaking of threats in the passing game, when we thought the AFC would have the NFL Player of the Month, we would have never thought Josh Allen would have did it because of his arm. But the 3-0 Buffalo Bills will travel out west to take on the 2-1 Las Vegas Raiders. If you had both of them in this type of matchup, this time of year with this type of record, raise your hand.
I might have had the Bills 3-0, but I damn sure didn't have the Raiders there.
Kyle, why does this game seem like it's going to be fun to watch late on Sunday?
Because it absolutely will be. Are you kidding me? This Raiders team, believe it or not, maybe it's because of Josh Jacobs more than Derek Carr, but that's a balanced offense against the top 5, if not number 1 in the league defense. Of course, you always want to see that if you're a football enthusiast. And then if you flip the script to see the Raiders, the Bills defense, the Bills offense do their thing against the Raiders defense, that's a compelling question in and of itself.
And really in this game, it's just, can the Raiders somehow try to keep Josh Allen inside that pocket? You don't want him to run.
All right.
Listen, unlike Teddy Bridgewater in the fourth quarter, you won't be accurate. All right. So all I'm saying is this. When it comes down to can you trust a guy that looks like Gerald Levert?
Oh, thank you, Bobby. Perfect.
Listen, Brodie's profile picture looks like a 1980s R&B album cover. All right?
He ain't lying. That's real.
He's got the open shirt on and everything. All right.
The shades make it though. The shades make it.
Yeah, I mean he's got the old school the mall shades, not the ones from the department store, the ones he gets in the kiosk in the mall. He's got those shades on. All right, those $18 shades. All right, let's go around.
Don't knock it. They still look good, baby. That's the kind of shades that you order lemon pepper wings in. I'll take that, Victor.
All right, let's go around the entire league because Kyle's got those stats. All right, we got the undefeated Chicago Bears taking on the Indianapolis Colts. We'll start with the early games, going to late games. We got the Bears and the Colts, Kyle. Listen, the Bears didn't. No, we don't. Why we want
I want to narrate that. Bobby Blackjack, schedule that mess. It's on. I'm sorry. Anyway.
It's like watching Clemson versus the Citadel. We already know who's going to win that.
He said, Rodney was sin.
All right. I mean, listen, Rodney will not win a disc contest. Rodney wins a disc contest with Carlton Banks as a game-winning shot for Bel Air Academy in basketball.
Hey, you leave Carlton Banks out of this, you son of a.
All right. As I was saying, speaking of son of us, the new son of Chicago is now Nick Foles. Finally, Bears fans can rejoice because, listen, Mitchell Trubisky's out of the offense. Unfortunately, Nick Foles' his stature and legend grew because of the fact that we do 3 touchdowns, not against for the Philadelphia Eagles, against the New England Patriots. He did 3 touchdowns like Al Bundy against the Atlanta Falcons defense, like he ran through Grandma like a hurricane.
He was 1 touchdown short of pulling an Al Bundy, man. It was crazy. Listen, and by the way,
he had one called back. The Allen Robinson touchdown was called back.
This close, Danny Thompson. And by the way, if one more Bears fan comes at me trying to act like they belong in the top 10 of a power ranking, stop it!
They do. They do.
You're better than this, Danny Thompson. You're better
Kyle
than this.
Why the Bears not a top 10 team?
Drop pass, a team that had their star player hurt during the game and needed defensive pass interference to win the game that wasn't called, okay? And then, well, you know, them Falcons be throwing-away leads, son. So between those 3 things, you're going to try to tell me they're a top 10 team in this league? Get out my face with that.
Hey, Kyle, here's a question. How many teams are undefeated?
No, see, don't do that.
No. Answer my question. Kyle, don't do it.
No, that number lies, okay? All you did right now is you found a way to make an undefeated record look like Donald Trump. That's what you did, Danny Thompson. That's what you did.
All I know is this. The Bears have come back in the fourth quarter in 2 games this year. They went into Detroit and they manhandled the Lions. Listen, they beat the Lions. Now, mind you, the Lions aren't as bad as they thought because Kenny Golladay got back in the lineup and the Lions could pass the football. Okay, the Giants, lost Saquon Barkley, but hell, what team in New York hasn't lost players all year? All right.
I see you now when you put it that way. I mean, who am I to complain? My C squad was on the field as a Niners fan, right? You know.
I mean, listen, Stanford was on the field against the Giants, against the Jets last week. They used Stanford or Cal. What I'm saying is, listen.
Jim Harbaugh isn't coaching there anymore.
Listen, says Stanford or Cal. Listen, but what I'm saying is undefeated doesn't take away the fact they're undefeated. The Bears are undefeated for a reason. Now Nick Foles is in the lineup, and guess what? Receivers rejoice. Allen Robinson, who had been complaining and also potentially asking for a trade, has caught 10 passes for 150 yards last week.
Right.
Okay, now you're going against a Colts secondary that, listen, besides this year, they're going to be able to get the ball down the field. Now, the real question is, can Dave Montgomery take the load because Tyreek Cohen's out for the rest of the season with ACL injury? Montgomery's going to have to step up huge because Cohen's not going to be there to take those third down plays. He's going to have to catch the ball. He's going to have to be able to run the ball. But the good news is if Foles is completing passes, now we've seen really good Nick Foles, and we've seen really bad Nick Foles at the same time.
Correct.
As long as Nick Foles is somewhere in the middle going towards good, the Bears should be just fine. If Nick Foles goes back to St. Louis Nick Foles and Jacksonville Nick Foles, Mitch Trubisky might have his job back before Thanksgiving.
And listen, it's funny you say that about
Halloween,
Foles.
actually.
Yeah, it's funny you say that about Foles. I would say the same thing about our good friend Phillip Rivers, who's trying to retread his career in Indy, right? That defense is better than it's ever been under Andrew Luck. Hell, I could argue it's just as good as anything you had with Peyton Manning in the Super Bowl years and all that. I mean, the only thing they have is Bob Sanders, or don't have rather, is Bob Sanders on the DL every week. Anyway, no, but what I'm trying to say is this, but if Phillip Rivers comes out, and he can go either way. Now, if they're both right in the middle and playing one another, so to speak, or playing against each other's defenses, that might actually be a fun football game to watch.
But I think the Bears defense makes more plays than the Colts defense. I like the Bears at home. I think Khalil Mack will make some plays. He'll get to. Remember, Rivers is slow. Old man Rivers. I think Mack in the defense will get him. All right. Bengals and Jaguars. Kyle will spend about maybe 30 seconds on this. But Bengals and Jaguars. Jaguars do not have DJ Baby Chark. He's out again. There's no Baby Chark this week.
The Bengals have Joe Burrow. They win. Next.
Uncle Rico overthrows Joey Buckets. I'm taking the Jaguars this one, actually. All right.
Okay.
And Kyle, who'd you get in Colts and Bears?
I'm not brave enough to pick the Colts because I've been burned too much by Phillip Rivers in the past. I'll take the Bears, but only begrudgingly. That should make them 1-3.
Listen, the 1-2 Dallas Cowboys take on the Cleveland Browns in the early marquee game that's going to be on Fox, unfortunately, for most of the country. All right, Kyle, what we see about the Dallas Cowboys is that Dak Prescott is throwing the football at alarming rates.
Right.
Mike McCarthy was brought in to run the football. They have the offensive lineman run the football, but Dak is throwing almost 50 times a game. Into the Cleveland Browns. Kyle, take it away.
From there, so long as Baker Mayfield isn't throwing the ball that much, the Browns have a chance. Listen, this is a deceptively sneaky good football game. And listen, say what you will about Dak throwing the ball, Danny. For the past 2 weeks, with that strategy, the Cowboys have broken 30 points. People have, there are people unwise that go, why don't the Cowboys use their best offensive weapon? What, CeeDee Lamb? You got a problem with that? Anyways, no, listen. The Cowboys need to keep doing what they're doing. There'll be a time to pound the rock. Let them forget about Ezekiel Elliott. That's okay. They'll come back strong in the winter months. I really got the Cowboys in this game simply because I don't believe in the Browns' ability to play mistake-free football. Listen, by the way, when you put them together, doesn't Chubb Hunt sound like the name of an adult film star? I'm just asking.
Listen, if Chubb Hunt runs the football the way they've won the last 2 weeks and the Browns have won those 2 football games, Dallas is going to be off the field. As you mentioned before, Baker Mayfield is not making mistakes. Here's the thing. Dak does – listen, Jerry Jones is saying this because Dak Prescott wants Deshaun Watson money. So, listen, you can't be 1-2 asking for Deshaun Watson money no matter how great your numbers are. Besides, Jerry's Jerry.
Yeah, exactly. It's posturing. You're looking too much into that, Rodney. It's a lightsaber duel right now. And to be honest, the one who threw the gauntlet down was Dak Prescott, making the egregious money demand in the first place. I'm not holding that against Jerry, but I can see why you don't like it either. I respect it.
Here's the thing. Cleveland wins the game if Chubb and Hunt go for they combine for about 175 yards on the ground. The Browns win the game because that way Prescott and the boys aren't on the field. The Cowboys offense is on the field, which means their secondary is not taking chances. If they do not run the ball effectively and Dallas can stop the run, Dallas has effect. They can stop the run because they actually have talent on defense. Prescott will go over the top. This is the Amari Cooper game. Why? The Browns don't have an elite corner. That means Amari Cooper's going to run free all day long. I like the Cowboys in this one because here's the thing. Dallas will actually have a lead in this game where they can use Ezekiel Elliott and they'll feed him in the second half. I like the Cowboys I got the Cowboys by a touchdown.
I'm going to steal this from you because you deserve credit for it. You're the first one I heard say it. I agree with you, but the formula is a little different. If Mayfield throws below 25 times, they have a fighting chance. I don't think that happens here.
Saints and Lions, an interesting game because Michael Thomas could be returning for the New Orleans Saints after missing the last couple games due to injury, and the Lions got their first win because their Pro Bowl wide receiver, Kenny Galladay, returns to the lineup. Yes, they beat the Arizona Cardinals, but the thing is, Kenny Galladay changes everything for the Lions. Now the Lions are back at home.
Why are you rubbing funk on beating the Cardinals is an excellent deal. That's a good win.
What I'm saying is they beat the Cardinals last week because of the return of Kenny Galladay. Now you have the same. Yeah, I'm not. No shade. No shade in the Cardinals. There's no shade.
Still going. No, there's I'm just saying.
Okay. So this is the game the Lions need to have. Adrian Peterson is now taking over the starting running back job, but the real question is, will Michael Thomas play? Because the Saints' offense is not the same without Michael Thomas. Alvin Kamara was almost electrifying against the Packers. There's nothing more he couldn't have done. Drew Brees is looking a little bit longer in the tooth. Kyle, do the Lions have a chance?
Of course they have a chance. And what's going to happen here is the Lions are going to try to turn it into a shootout. Now, I know it sounds odd. The Lions want a shootout? Are you kidding me? It's Drew bleeping Brees. Yes, they do, because if it becomes a shootout, that means you take Kamara running the football out of the game. And if you go one-dimensional, sure, Kamara can catch passes as well. We damn sure saw that against the Pack. And boy, did he look good doing it. But I think if you put the ball in Drew Brees' hands for an extended period of time, and where he can't only just dink and dunk away and get 65% of the freaking yards or yards after the catch in the passing game. That's not Brees doing that, okay? They want to shoot out. I don't think they'll get it because I don't believe in the Detroit run defense. I think Kamara goes to work on that. You have a Saints win.
I like the Saints this game. I just don't know if Adrian Peterson can help Matthew Stafford not have to throw the ball 65 times a game. Because here's the thing. If you're throwing 65 times, that means you're letting Cam Jordan and that Saints defense have plenty of opportunities to hit Matt Stafford on a regular basis. Now, this is a Matt Patricia. I think this is one of those games that can save Matt Patricia's job because his idea, and the reason I brought him in was to install toughness. If the Lions defense can get after Drew Brees and make his day miserable, they have Trey Flowers. They have talent. They have the talent. Not they're great. They have talented players, Flowers and the company. Can they load up and tee off on Brees? If they do, the Lions will win this game at home, but it's the Lions. I'm taking the Saints.
You mentioned coaching too, really quick. You know, there's got to be some questions of Sean Payton of late. The past 2 weeks, I believe they've been in double-digit penalties, a huge factor in both of their outcomes.
Correct. Down in Miami, Russell Carrington-Wilson's team. I'm not even going to mention what the real team is. The Russell Wilsons, the Carringtons and company go down to Miami to take on the Miami Dolphins. All right, listen. The Seahawks have been the best team in the NFL all season. I know Kansas City has been one thing, but listen, watching what Russell Wilson is doing to everybody in the NFL is just plain ridiculous. Now he's going against the Dolphins. Now, mind you, this is the best secondary he's gone against all season, and Miami has got two really good corners. Chris Carson's not healthy because of the nice Gator roll tackle last week. Kyle, the Brian Flores and his team have enough to take down Russell Carrington-Wilson and his team on Sunday.
Listen, I don't care how good your quarterback core is. It doesn't matter. You were trying to tell me the other day about Stefan Gilmore as Defensive Player of the Year last year, and Russell Carrington-Wilson still burned him. Byron Jones, Mrs. Jones, Jones brothers, whatever. James Jonah Jameson, whoever it is, Rusty's going to beat him if they're in the secondary. I don't think they have enough of a pass rush to change things up. And even if they did, watch Rusty go out and lead the team in rushing with Carson out. It wouldn't be the first time. Check 2017 when y'all fools didn't make him the MVP when he should have been. I got the Seahawks, and it's going to be convincing.
Down in Tampa, the Los Angeles Superchargers come across the country to take on Tom Brady and the New England and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. All right.
No,
yes, he did.
J. Jonah Jameson, not Jenna Jameson. Spider-Man, not some other whatever. Anyways.
Chargers and Buccaneers, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Tom Brady looked like Tom Brady last week. He threw for almost 300 yards last week. Mike Evans had the best stat line I think I've ever seen. 2 and 2. 2 catches, 2 yards, 2 touchdowns. Kyle, the Chargers are coming in after losing a tough game against the Carolina Panthers last week on Sunday. Justin Herbert's looking for his first win as a full-fledged starter in the NFL. Does he get it against Tampa Bay?
Wouldn't it be great if you're a rookie quarterback and your first win is against Tom bleeping Brady, Thomas Edward Brady? Wouldn't that be amazing? I don't think that'll happen, though, because I just don't know. I mean, the Chargers' defense is awesome. Let me be clear. But guess what? So is Tampa's. I think that Brady is just able to get himself out of situations better to prevent turnovers, where Herbert's still more inclined to fringe because he's just young. I would say it's like going to be a turnover count of 4-2. LA will lose the turnover battle and thus the game.
Here's the thing. We didn't see much of Leonard Fournette last week. We'll see him this week. It's a different type of game. The Buccaneers get up. The Buccaneers get away early. Ronald Jones and Fournette will pound away the second half, and it's going to be way too much. I'm saying Tampa, and I think they cover the 7-point spread they actually have this week. Mm-hmm. In the Battle of the Beltway, the Baltimore Ravens, coming off a Monday night performance at home against the Kansas City Chiefs, go down the Beltway to take on the Washington whatchamacallits, who don't have Chase Young on Sunday with a groin injury. The whatchamacallits have the top 3 in the NFL in sacks. Now you get the most mobile quarterback in the league without your best sack artist and the most talented sack artist available. Kyle, do the whatchamacallits have a chance to get their second consecutive win at home?
Hell no, they don't. By the way, you just listed an example of how numbers lie. The leading, the number where they lead the league in sacks, you know damn well how that happened, Danny Thompson, and it's called the MASH unit in Philadelphia, and getting 8 sacks against a damaged-ass alt line. Don't tell me about that. If you all want to talk about numbers lying, boom, it just happened. No, I'm not going after you, Danny Thompson. All you did was report the figures. I'm telling people facts. So at the end of the day, and no, I don't mean you're trying to lie. You're not Trump. Anyways, what I'm trying to say is this, Danny Thompson. The Red Tails with Chase Young have a better shot, obviously, but I just don't think they have enough offense. Y'all forget about Calais Campbell being up in there, folks. He's a good defensive lineman. I don't care how old he is. And oh, by the way, not a bad supporting cast either. Sure, they don't have Ed Reed. That doesn't mean they suck. I got Baltimore basically on the strength of the defense. We don't even have to talk about Lamar Jackson. We don't.
The real question is, will Baltimore cover the 14-point spread? Now, here's the issue that I do have with the Baltimore Ravens. We saw on Monday night that the Ravens have issues getting the ball down the field. And Kyle, I think we both said this ad nauseum on the show. They need to go get a wide receiver. They don't have one. Monday night, they turned basically Lamar Jackson into a dink and dunk passer. I think he threw for under 100 yards on Monday night. If he's not be able to throw the ball down the field, Mark Andrews, those guys, if they're not getting the ball down the field, Lamar Jackson's going to have to use his feet. Now, I'm not saying this is one of those games where it's going to happen again for the second straight week in a row, but it's just something you want to keep an eye on. I do think Hollywood Brown goes Hollywood on Sunday, and I'm sorry, FedEx, whatever you want to call it, I think it's still FedEx Field, and FedEx doesn't do anything on Sundays anyway. Neither will the whatchamacallits. I'm taking the Ravens. I think the Ravens, you talk about a team that's angry this week, the Ravens is one team I don't want to pay angry this week, and the Ravens defense will load up on Dwayne Haskins. I feel bad for them. I think the Ravens will cover the 14-point spread. Out in Carolina, the Arizona Cardinals travel across country to take on the Carolina Panthers. And yes, I said the Carolina Panthers because they won last week against the Chargers. Kyle, could they make it 2 wins in a row against Kyler Murray and that outstanding Cardinal offense?
Listen, at the end of the day, you're going to have plenty of opportunity to call up the kittens after this day. There's just too much offense, too many weapons for that Carolina defense to mess with. I'll let you talk about the other side of the ball. Danny?
Well, I'll say this. Carolina doesn't have Christian McCaffrey.
Oh, well, that only further solidifies the point, doesn't it? Moving on.
Listen, Mike Davis, I think, had like 60 yards. He had like 60 yards on the ground. He's not Christian McCaffrey. Teddy Bridgewater is going to have to win with his arm.
Oh, yeah. Boy. Down the street.
Yep.
I got some scripts at the market down the street.
Yes, it's also going to be Skirt and Kitten on Sunday. I'm taking the Cardinals. Vikings and Texans, if this game actually does happen in Houston. Listen, Houston's 0-3. If they go 0-4 after trade DeAndre Hopkins, Bill O'Brien, otherwise known as Bob the Houston fans, will be building his way out the door. Okay? You can't go 0-4 in the NFL and expect to make the playoffs. The Vikings are 0-3. They can't afford to go 0-4 in the NFC North. Somebody is going to be leaving this game unless you're the Philadelphia Eagles and Cincinnati Bengals who tied the previous week. Kyle, okay, I just hope on everything we don't get a tie. What do you think is winning this game? Because I'm actually taking the Vikings, unfortunately.
You would, and it's because you're just a Bill O'Brien hater for the sake of being a Bill O'Brien hater. What I'm trying to tell you is
I don't trust David Johnson. I don't trust David Johnson.
Why does David Johnson matter in this matchup? At the end of the day, you're trying to tell me that the Vikings can cover anybody. That's adorable too. But at the end of the day, don't forget about the fact that your boy Kirk Cousins is going to have J.J. Watt breathing down his neck. He will make his mistakes. And even if you think the Texans don't move the ball, that's fine. They'll still be able to kick for some points as well. Adam Thielen's done very little in comparison to when he had Stefan Diggs to relieve things in the past. And Kyle, the hard-nosed tight end Rudolph, is aging. He's probably going to be the best target in this game, in my opinion. I'll leave it at this, my friend. The Texans have had the toughest opening 3 games on the schedule so far this year, period.
Agreed.
The Vikings have had precisely no excuse. I have the Texans.
Well, I have the Vikings for the difference. You said Adam Thielen has had his numbers because he had number 2 wide receiver. Justin Jefferson enters the chat.
And he did look good last week, too. You did mention that.
You know what? And listen, that kind of changes the things for Kirk Family Cousins is my main man. The Chisel O'Donnell's calls him Kirk Family Cousins. I think Cousins has a good game. I think Justin Jefferson does what he needs to do. Thielen has a big game, and guess what? They'll start giving the ball to Dalvin Cook more often. I like the Vikings to send the Texans to 0-4. All right, late games, Rams and Giants. We'll start with this one, Kyle, I guess.
The Giants don't have their best player, and the Rams have Aaron Donald. I have the Rams. Moving on.
I mean...
Next.
If you're playing fantasy football, get the Rams defense this week. That's all I'm saying. Rams to cover the 12.5, and hopefully Daniel Jones doesn't end on his back 12.5 times in the game either. We talked Patriots and Chiefs. Kyle, who you got this game?
I have the Chiefs simply because I think they'll find a way to score points because Patrick Mahomes, listen, there's only one reason they won the Super Bowl, okay? Patrick Mahomes made an amazing play on 3rd and 1,000,000, all right? Don't count that dude out. Don't ever count that dude out. I don't care how long they keep him off the field. He's got to take the field at some point. I have the Chiefs, but it will be close.
Listen, as much as I love Cam Newton and the Cam Newton comeback story, this is completely different. The Chiefs suplex Bill Belichick in a potential playoff preview. I think we'll see them two in January. I like the Patriots, I like the Chiefs. To win round 1, but man, it's gonna be hard to go against Belichick in round 2.
Right?
Bills Raiders. Kyle, I'm taking the Bills in this one. The Bills stay undefeated. Josh Allen is looking like the real deal. Stephon Diggs is the perfect addition. Listen, Singletary, I like the Bills and the defense.
I agree with you. As much as we talk about the Bills' defense, at the end of the day, the Raiders' defense have to try to take on Josh Allen. And listen, I know people in the comments have knocked the Bills' running game. They're good enough to support a guy who's doing what Josh Allen is currently doing. At the end of the day, say what you will, but the Bills have a better all-around team. Raiders don't have enough defense.
I'm not discounting the Raiders. I think if the Raiders win this game, it's going to have to be a huge game from the guy we haven't mentioned. Darren Waller is going to have a huge game. He's got to control the middle of the field and be a bigger target because Henry Ruggs is not being healthy, and they're relying on other guys. Waller's going to have to be huge.
Combining with Josh Jacobs controlling the ball to keep Allen off the field, it's not a bad theory.
Sunday night, Eagles and 49ers.
Can I just say whatever? Like, which team is more injured at this damn point? Hey, listen, at least at some point the Niners got Brandon Ayuk back, and he scored a touchdown, by the way, and they still have their top fullback, and they still have a good running core, and their offensive line is mostly healthy. They're going to keep the ball on the ground. And meanwhile, as Carson Wentz free falls behind damaged offensive line, a thoroughly injured wide receiver core, like basically it's him and Zach Ertz versus the world, okay? I don't know you know what? I'm brave enough to pick the 49ers to beat the Eagles because the Eagles haven't showed me enough in their state of of mash unithood and being thoroughly injured as they have. They had to tie to the Bengals last week. Granted, credit to Joe Burrow, but it's the bleeping Bengals.
Here's the thing. Eagles have struggled all season long. Like you said, there's a mash unit, and here come the 49ers coming right to the door. Listen, no matter how hurt the 49ers are, they still can rush the passer. Yeah. The Eagles need to find help. They need to find help in the offensive line. And like you said, now Dallas Goedert's out. Now it's just down to Zach Ertz and Miles Sanders or whatever you put on the field. Deshaun Jackson is not Deshaun Jackson anymore. I like the 49ers because they can run the ball, and I don't expect Nick Mullins, if he is starting to throw 45 times anyway. I think the Niners win. I think the game is going to be ugly.
Hey, even if they have Garoppolo back, he's not throwing 45 times either, partner.
It's going to be ugly anyway. If you can just run the ball and keep the Eagles off the field, I mean, the way the Eagles offense is playing, Carson Wentz is throwing the ball. You might want to keep them on the field.
I mean, I hear you. Listen, all they got to do is look at the tape from the Green Bay game. They can tell you about running the ball mostly. Anyways.
All right. And since we'll close out the games on this week with the game that's got the highest point total of the week by Vegas, the Atlanta Falcons taking on the Green Bay Packers, Kyle. All right. Now, I don't want to sound like a homer, but 2020 has not been good for the Atlanta Falcons.
They have not. No homer needs to be the only one to say that, sir.
But here's the thing. In the most 2020 thing ever, something tells me the Falcons are going to win on Monday night.
The Packers have been known to win games that they shouldn't, but here's the problem. Your Falcons defense is putrid. The Packers defense ain't half bad. Your boy Matt Ryan's been missing passes here and there. Your boy Julio's been doing things that I don't remember seeing ever in the past 5 years. Maybe they cleaned all that up. Go ahead.
Julio Jones is out Sunday.
Oh, there's that too. Yeah, I got the pack. Sorry, Bono.
Julio Jones was out last Sunday. Russell Gage got hurt last Sunday in the middle of the game. So Matt Ryan basically was throwing to Calvin Ridley and a bunch of the Eagles wide receivers. It wasn't very successful last week. All right? It's just very simple. You can't win when half of your staff was working at Publix the night before.
Oh,
sorry. Now, Alan Lazard is now out with emergency surgery. On top of that, Devontae Adams still is questionable. That means if Adams is out and no Alan Lazard, where is Aaron Charles Rodgers throwing the ball to?
Easy.
The one thing
out of the backfield. Hello.
Listen, you can't throw the ball. Listen, you can't. This is not Tecmo Bowl. You can't give them ball 40 times. Guys come out of the game. What I do think about this is the Packers haven't faced an offense, especially as prolific as Atlanta's, especially in the passing department. If Atlanta is completely healthy and this game is not in the frozen weather, Atlanta will score points. If Green Bay doesn't have all their weapons, I'm not sure if Green Bay can keep up in this game. Because this is 2020 and Dan Quinn should be fired by now, this is the type of game that will stand Dan Quinn's job. Something tells me the Falcons actually will pull this one out because they should have won the last two, and they're not supposed to win this week. So I'm taking the Falcons to actually win this week.
You know what? I appreciate you going with the logic of Miss Cleo and like the waves and the vibes and all that. It's not a bad argument, honestly. But at the end of the day here, Mr. Simpson, who can stop Aaron Jones in the ground game? Thank you.
Hey, listen, the Falcons have not given up a 100-yard rusher all season.
That's because they haven't had to run the ball against them.
Hey, listen, I'm just saying the Falcons haven't allowed a 100-yard rusher all season.
Numbers lie, Danny Thompson, and you just provided me another example. Don't play this.
Listen, all I'm saying is
this might work against. No, I'm not going to talk trash. Yeah, this might work against Rodney. There you go. I'll say
listen, the Falcons have held Chris Carson, they held Ezekiel Elliott, and last week they held Montgomery and Tyreek Cohen. They haven't allowed a 100-yard rush yet this season.
Chris Carson had to leave the game early.
No, Carson played the whole game.
I thought you said he got hurt. Oh, was it in practice?
No, Carson got hurt last week on that Gator tackle last week. That should have been outlawed. The player should have been thrown out of the game last week for the Cowboys.
That's right. I'll put it this way then. I still don't see anybody that can stop Aaron Jones on that squad at the end of the day. That's all I'm sticking to.
Hey, listen, hashtag Deion Jones, hashtag there'll be no hashtagging touchdowns on Monday nights. All right. Speaking of things that start with tagging and everything else between, it's time for our favorite segment of the show, Kyle. It's time for Mount Rushmore. Woo. For those who've never watched this show before, I shame on you, and you should be ashamed of yourself.
Get a hold of your life.
Exactly. Kyle and I we do a segment called Mount Rushmore every single week where we take a topic and pick the top 4 things on it. Yep. We do all different types of topics, all different types of things, all different types of themes. Doesn't matter what it is. And the best part about it is Kyle has no earthly idea what this topic is until I tell him.
None.
So, Kyle, every week there's always a particular day of the week that's just pretty much known for. It's not Monday Night Football. No, it's not Wednesday Night Dynamite on TNT for AEW. No, it's not Thursday night. No, it's not Thursday Night Football. Okay, no SmackDown on Fridays. But Kyle, there's a tradition that there's like no other on the day of Tuesday, Kyle. And you know what that is?
You don't mean election day either.
It's Taco Tuesday.
Taco Tuesday. You got to say it, Danny.
Listen, to quote LeBron James, Taco Tuesday. All right.
Hey, that was good. All right.
Thank you. I'm here all week. All right. So, Kyle, we are talking tacos. We're talking nachos. But there's got to be something that goes along with it, Kyle. So tonight's Mount Rushmore topic is, Kyle, the Mount Rushmore of toppings on tacos, nachos, and Mexican food.
Ooh, this is unique, Danny Thompson. I got to give you that. It's fun and unique in its own way. So wow, taco toppings. Okay,
and we can extend to nachos and burritos as well too.
Sure. Well, and in my mind, a lot of those are the same thing. So no, but I appreciate you extending it out. First of all, anybody who comes in my grill and tries to tell me that putting guacamole on stuff is on Mount Rushmore, you're wrong. I'm not saying you shouldn't do it. I'm just saying don't put it on Mount Rushmore. But let's kick it off. Listen, now when you mean toppings, do you mean just like condiments and vegetables? Or are you including meat?
I'm including vegetables, toppings, no meat. So chicken and those things don't count.
Okay, very good.
If you have a chicken taco, it's the same as having a meat taco.
There's probably yolks in there, but we'll leave it on that. Anyways, I'm going to kick it off with this. It's very simple, folks. If you don't have tomatoes on your stuff, there is nothing there to provide juice and relief for all the heat that's going on, not just temperature-wise, but spice-wise. Tomatoes soak up basically a portion of the flavor of what they're mixed in with and make it part of the party, okay? You got to do that. It's a great thing to do. And it's very basic. And if you have an allergy or something, tomatoes, I apologize for you. That just means you'll never truly experience the maximum effort of a taco. You can never have a Deadpool taco because it's not maximum effort. Chimichangas for you are right out, son. Anyways, so the next thing I'm going to put on the list is kind of cheating. Whenever I see it happen, I'm like, oh, you don't need to do that. And then I go and order it anyway. Queso dip for the win, folks. Listen, if you got a quality queso that you come in and it's at just the right temperature. Listen, y'all fools want to talk to me about Krispy Kreme and a hot sign, and it's great in its own right. But nice hot queso just kind of cutting into the party. Ooh, that's a good time all the way around. I definitely would support that as a Mount Rushmore topping. Third, folks, I feel ways about this particular food. Be it chips, burritos, basically anything, tostadas even, they have their role. Salsa. By the way, if you do not use cilantro in your salsa, get the out. Beep. Okay? GTFO, son, if you don't have cilantro in your salsa, that too makes a list. And finally, to round it out, listen, I'm not a masochist, but every now and again, I do like a kick in the mouth. And I get that from the jalapeno pepper. The thing that makes Mexican food with the heat that people who are stereotypically plain in their palate turn away. Okay? At the end of the day, if you aren't capable of taking on a jalapeno, which actually that means I'm putting my mom on blast, so sorry, mama, but if you can't take a jalapeno, you're not really truly experiencing Mexican food. And Danny, that's how seriously I take Mount Rushmore. I just put my mom on blast.
I mean, I can't believe you put Mama Nash on blast like that, so I can't believe it. I don't even know you anymore.
Hey, listen, you told me to take Mount Rushmore seriously. I did as I was told. You know, I'm a company man, I'm a team player, and I take my job seriously, Danny Thompson. You you knew what you were getting into. Don't tell me you don't know who I am. Don't you know who I am?
Ricky Bobby, I don't even know you anymore. Bobby, up in New Jersey, my friend, what you got?
I got nothing. I got nothing except bacon.
Really?
Okay. What can I say in the situation?
Yeah, I'm very vanilla when it comes to Tex-Mex. Cheese. All right, maybe refried beans.
Okay,
I love that.
there you go.
Okay.
That's
All
about
right.
it.
All right.
You say bacon and refried beans? Hell, I'm hungry, bro.
You're hungry and gassy afterwards. All right. So
I didn't say I would have company afterwards. I just said I was hungry. Listen.
all right. So listen. First and foremost, Kyle, you got it right. You got to have queso, number one. All right. Queso, but it's got to be the right queso. Sure. I'm not comparing it to a Krispy Kreme hot donut because that's damn near disrespectful. But
no.
It is very good.
I have to put it on a high plane, not to bring it down, sir. No. Don't get it twisted.
Listen, the Krispy Kreme hot sign is like Michael. It's like Jordan. It doesn't lose. All right. Sure. Nothing beats. Yes. Okay. Just making sure.
No, let me get this clear. If you're under the impression I said anything other than that, you're sorely mistaken, my good friend.
All right. So I like this. You gotta have sauce. You got your good queso. All right. For me, next on my list is Pico De Gallo. You gotta have Pico because
salsa, but I'll give it to you.
No, it's different. Because Pico, you gotta have Pico somewhere in this. All right. Pico De Gallo. Pico De Gallo for the win. All right. Now, what's next? You're right, Kyle. Jalapenos have got to be on this list somewhere. All right. Listen, if you ain't got no jalapenos in any type of taco or Mexican dish in your household, I'm kicking you out of your own house. All right.
Are you going to kick my mama out of her house, Danny Thompson?
Listen, I said I'm kicking you out your own house. I don't care who's
I don't
doing
even know you.
I said I'm kicking you out your own house. All right. Doesn't matter whose house it is.
I don't know.
We runs house, all I care. All right. Now, here's the thing, Kyle. People might think I'm piggybacking my last one, but Kyle, you gotta have this on here more than anything else. All right. You gotta have shredded cheese. All right.
Oh, you know what? That's my bad. That's so obvious. I overlooked it. That's on me.
Yes, the shredded cheese has gotta be on there. You gotta get the Mexican blend cheese.
It was implied. I got to be honest. It's so essential. Can I change my answer?
No, damn it! You should use it on there. Bobby, got any comments in the chat tonight? All right, it's been a quiet night in the chat tonight. Really, it's been one of the more quiet nights of the show, Kyle.
I mean, listen, we punked Rodney early, I guess. I got no. I'm kidding, Rodney. Hey, listen, I'm trading cheese and tomatoes though. Don't tell me I can't.
I mean, listen, Rodney's running like Clemson is from competition.
I mean, well, wow, I don't even have an answer for that. I mean, because North Carolina already ran from UCF.
Listen, no, it's because of scheduling conflicts. It is what it is, Kyle. It was scheduling conflicts, Kyle. COVID took away from it. Oh yeah, by the way, before we do our shout outs, time to do a public service announcement. Yes. If you are watching Blackjack TV, check out the new film by my main man, Jay McFoster, called My Brother's Keeper, running every hour on Blackjack TV. And once again, it starts again at 11 p.m. So they're showing it every hour on the hour. Go check it out on Blackjack TV. Also, as I said, it's a very, very good movie, by the way. And, and guess what? It's not like you have to pay for it because Blackjack TV is on Zynga.
Boom.
All right, Kyle. Before we go, any shout outs, any last things you want to say? Because obviously I don't know you with shredded cheese and poor Mrs. Nash.
But first of all, I apologize for the shredded cheese, and I explained to you why that happened. Like, it's like, do I remind you to breathe, Danny Thompson? No, I don't. Okay? You
remind me of a Falcons fan every week. What more do you want from me?
You remind the world you're a Falcons fan. You need the GTFO out there. Actually, who reminds us you're a Falcons fan every week? It's Rodney with his trolling. Anyways, I'm right, Danny Thompson.
So is my Facebook timeline. But continue.
And second, don't talk about my mama. You said you kick her out of her house too. Anyway,
I said I kick at your own house. I didn't say that. My Mama Nash. I ain't kicking Mama Nash out of the house.
Mama Nash does not put jalapenos on her stuff.
I'll bring my own jalapenos at that point then.
Okay, I respect it. That's hardcore though. I respect that.
Yes, exactly. But continue.
But if you're interested in me doing some more silly stuff surrounding the UCF Knights, check out the One and O Show. The One and O Show Facebook page there. Just check that out. It's a Facebook Live production by Jetsaholic Productions. My good friend Javier Perez running the show, answering fan questions from his Facebook group UCF One Heartbeat, as well as Jason Banning, he's basically the show's data analyst that runs sims for each game too. It's a very interesting concept, and me being silly and talking about the facts of the game as well, rounding it all out. Listen, you might think, Cal, you're the most legitimate thing they got. No, I'm not. These guys are talented with their video skills and their analysis. Check them out, the One and O Show. And of course, you can check me out, Kyle Nash, at the Stew of the Game. Check me out on Twitter as at the SOTG. Check me out on Instagram as the same, the SOTG. Check me out on Facebook as the Student of the Game. And of course, my work with the 3pointconversion.com. I have an article there previewing the Tulsa game and how that could go and what UCF has to worry about and what they may not have to worry about at the same time. Of course, check out my work with Demosthenes Euclid. Danny Thompson, I don't know if you checked out the Harlem Nights required viewing, but that did happen. I hope you checked it out. If you don't, I'll send you the link. It was fun. But you might have to make fun of Demosthenes. Uh-oh.
I might have to go run and go check it out as soon as the show's over. Trust me.
All right, listen, I'll pass it to you. It's okay. We homies like that. Anyways. And then check out my work, by the way, on the Hilarity by Default YouTube channel, Wednesday nights at 9 Eastern for the live stream, of course. You can check it out, though, after the fact, too, on demand on the Hilarity by Default channel. Then we have oldschool101.com. And last but not least, Danny Thompson, I will be joining the Sons of UCF podcast as they do a pregame show leading into the UCF Knights game against the Tulsa Golden Hurricane. I think that's everything. I'll pass it back to you, my friend.
I mean, Kyle's I know Kyle's Mr. I'm gonna start calling Kyle Mr. UCF. Yes, we should get the UCF fight song. Bobby, any shouts before we go, my friend? Any housekeeping?
Other than the excellent movie you plugged.
Yes.
I think Bob is gone. Wrap the show, brother.
I mean, Bobby's gone. There he is.
I'm here. It's a quiet week.
It's a quiet week? All right. Well,
football this weekend. We'll see.
All right. Well, if you do have high school football, check out I-95 Sports, which should be tomorrow night. Some great high school football from the state of New Jersey. Keep track of our I-95's Facebook page because they'll show the dates, times, and who is playing as well, too. All right. So before we drop out the show, we want to thank everybody who stopped in the show, the usual suspects. Rodney, Mike DeSantis, Mike Patton. We didn't see Cortland tonight. I guess because the Titans are off this week.
I hope
the Titans are off this week.
Well, yeah. Oh, boo.
And also check out Cortland's work on the 3pointconversion.com because he's busy knocking out baseball articles out the park. Unlike the Minnesota Twins playoff perps. All right, check him out over there. Hey, I said
we're going to plug our guys. Plug Ab Stanley doing the power rankings. Drop those today here on the 3pointconversion.com.
Also, check out Alan Fields' Ab Stanley and Alan Fields with their football takes and their power rankings top 10s. Alan does college football. Ab does the NFL. Also, Mike Patton just dropped an article on the site as well too, talking about why Scottie Pippen's whole analysis about the bubble is completely wrong.
Whoa.
Also, check me out on Twitter at Danny3 Thompson, DANNY, 3 Thompson on Twitter. Also, check out my work on SI or SportsIllustrated.com. This week I just wrote about the Doc Rivers and why it was a great fit in Philadelphia. I'm also writing post-game analysis for each game of the NBA Finals throughout the finals, as well as keeping up with everything involving the Charlotte Hornets and their bubble camp that's been going on all over the last couple of days. Don't worry, Hornets fans. You have content coming and lots of it. Also, check out my work at 3pointconversion.com. This week, I have something controversial. For those who actually watch the WNBA, if you haven't, shame on you. I have dropped my top 25 list of the top 25 players in the bubble from 1 through 25. I want to see how good everybody's opinion is as well, too. Hopefully, I didn't ruffle too many feathers with that. Big shouts to my main man, Mr. Nash, in the corner. Like I said, all the people who stopped in the show tonight. Like I said, Rodney, Mike DeSantis, Mike Patton, Precious, and everybody, yes, I know, right? And everybody in between for liking, share, and everybody past the show. So for myself and Mr. Nash in the corner, Bobby Blackjack in New Jersey, Also, at the same time, I will continue to keep saying her name on the show. Keep the name of Breonna Taylor in your mouths, in your hearts, and also in your spirits, as hopefully that justice will prevail and they'll put Dale Cameron and everybody who was involved in it under the jail. So for myself and Mr. Nash, the student of the game himself, we're out. We'll see you guys on Monday night. Stay safe. And guess what? Go Falcons. All right, we're out. Peace.